Speaking of the pendulum, telework, where do you think telework is going to be in 3 or 5 years? And what does a company gain from having a flexible work policy around telework? And what do they lose by not having people in person as much as they did before COVID?
Great question. And I'm personally a little biased on this, right? My team, we are a remote first organization. My entire team, with the exception of one, is all remote across the country. To me, some of my favorite things about it is you can hire the best talent, right? You're not limited to a certain geography. You have the entire nation or the entire world, frankly, as an option for those for your candidate pool. And so you're talking, you're going from, kind of a micro level to this macro candidate pool now. So from a recruiting standpoint, very, huge differences, right? I would say compensation wise, right? Being based in the Metro DC area, salaries are typically a lot higher. I can have someone with very similar skills and experience working in Oklahoma that is significantly less than what I would be paying somebody in the DC metro area, right? So you've got a little bit of that kind of component coming in. It is a challenge though, right? Some of the conversations we have with a lot of leaders where they're not comfortable, is they don't necessarily know what somebody's doing. Some of the training's a little bit harder, right? There is this level of when you're in an office and overhearing conversations and interacting with people of learning from your peers. So from a remote work environment standpoint, right, we really encourage people to try to create and replicate that in-person environment as much as you can in those remote, right? There's again benefits of COVID, so many tools and systems that came out today to help with some of those collaborations, right? So whether it's my team lives on Teams. As far as kind of communications, we've created pods with inside of our team, and it's not uncommon for them to spend an hour or two on the phone with each other where they're on Teams, they're seeing each other, they may be talking through things, replicating and simulating some of that office environment. There's also a lot of team building tools that are out there now. Confetti is one that we have used for our teams to be able to do remote team building events. We have done knitting chunky blankets. We've done murder mystery parties. We've done escape rooms to help bring the team together. My team actually just 2 weeks ago came to me and said, "Hey, we'd love to do like a monthly luncheon." And so, what some of my team has arranged where they can just get together for a lunch remotely, a virtual lunch hour, and they've engaged another tool to be able, it's like $40 a year where they're able to like play games virtually, right? So lots of different options out there now for that. As far as some of the downsides, right, though, again, you're not always in person. It's harder. We have a lot of businesses that have started wanting to pull people back into the office. Um, our guidance there is to not make it a mandate. There has been some studies that have come out as far as when you mandate and say you have to come back into the office. Employees, again, going back to that pendulum swing, that's not sitting well with employees, right? Employees are responding much more to when you're encouraging and explaining why you want to pull people back into the office, what the intent is, why the value is there, what you're trying to accomplish by pulling them into the office, right? Having it more intentional versus, again, when you're mandating it, the data is showing there is definitely an uptick in resignations when it becomes a mandate versus a strongly encouraged thing. The last thing I like to always share too, right, just with the office space is you're paying for office space, right? So, from a capital expenditure standpoint, that's not a cost we have, right? And what else can we do and invest? So, thinking really strongly about why do I have an office? Why do I want them in the office? And as long as you're clear with that, some businesses do really thrive and do need some of that. But just being very clear as to why.